Hello, and welcome back to 3 Gay Laddies. The motherfuckers in the background are already ruining this video. Hold on. Okay, some of you guys in the comments are saying, you're gonna get demonetized. You guys swear in your videos. You can't monetize that. Listen, we have 11 subscribers. Do you really think we're gonna monetize our videos? It doesn't matter if our videos aren't advertiser friendly. Why would we monetize our videos at 11 subscribers? We can't get demonetized without monetizing our videos. Don't worry, guys. We're not earning money off this. Not with 11 subscribers and the average of 80 views. So, yeah, don't worry. We can't get demonetized for swearing because monetization enabled. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. And so Maddy's eating an apple. Shyanne is being Shyanne. And anyways, while they're trying to piss me off in the background, I'm still going to try and do this video. So this is the very first episode of Pet Peeve Corner. It was originally going to be a series only Maddy did, because we wanted to give her something exclusive, because she isn't the most skilled in talking dirt about people. But she hasn't yet. So I'm doing one right now, and I'm going to talk about sensory overload. So if anyone in the comments is like, you can't self-diagnose yourself with a mental illness, it's not a mental illness. It's like an irritation. It's like, I'm allergic to apples. I wish Maddy was allergic to apples so she'd die right now. No, I'm joking. Okay, it's not like a mental illness that's like, I've diagnosed myself. Okay. It's not anything like that. It's like an irritation. It's a mild thing that isn't that bad, so I'm not self-diagnosing myself. I'm pretty sure I don't have to go to a doctor to figure out if I have sensory overload. So, anyways, sensory overload, the definition is just like, read the definition on Google. Sensory overload occurs when one or more of the body's senses experiences overstimulation from the environment. There are many environmental elements that affect an individual. Examples of these elements are urbanization, I don't know what that is, crowding, noise, mass media, technology, and the explosive growth of information. Give you an explanation on the post that is on the screen. So this is not a post I've made, obviously. It's a Tumblr post that I saw about 3 years ago. I had no clue I had sensory overload, which it mentions right here. I found this post 3 years ago, and I was like, yeah, I relate to this, and I relate to this all. And then it said, yes, it's called sensory overload. I felt so enlightened. I was like, oh my god, Mom, I figured out why I feel like I'm killing my sister every time she snores. It's a sensory overload, and I looked it up and stuff, and I was like, yeah, I totally have this. And so I'm gonna tell you some stories about my experiences with sensory overload and how it affects me on the daily. And it's better now. It used to be really bad. Started about 3 years ago, and it's gone to this current point, but it used to be a lot worse than it is now. Now I have learned to deal with it easier, and it's not as horrible as it used to be, thank God. So it's better now, thankfully, but I have a couple short stories I want to tell you that to just explain why I felt like this. So the first story I want to tell you is the chip story. So my dad, he's a cool dude. I love him with my whole heart, and he's a great dad and funny guy, amazing, so like perfect. I was sitting on the couch with him one day. We were watching TV or something. I don't know, this was a good amount, like a while ago. He really likes Doritos, and I'm like, cool, I like Doritos too. Not as much as him, but Doritos, they're good. Doritos are good. So, he really likes the zesty cheese ones. The orange bag, the zesty ones, zesty Doritos. I admit they're good. If there were some in my cupboard, I'd eat them. They're good. he was eating some. And you have to admit, they taste good, but they do smell pretty wretched. And so, they're not the best smelling, but they do taste good. And so he's just eating some. I was sitting right next to him, and I could hear him chewing these chips. And while he was talking, and I could hear his stomach making noises. I was sitting there, and then all of a sudden, I stopped focusing on the movie we were watching, or the show, and all my focus was directed on him eating these chips. Him talking with his voice rumbling in his throat, combined with the chewing of the chips, combined with the smell, and combined with the noises his stomach was making, because if you've ever put your ear up to someone's stomach, they make noises. It's a stomach. You can't hear it when you're far away, but if you put your ear right up to someone's stomach, you can hear the noises, and they're pretty disgusting sounding. And I was real close. I could hear those noises. And so all of those things combined into one was making me so mad. My fists were clenched until my nails were digging into my palm. I was sitting there. I had no idea what was going on in the movie anymore because I was not paying attention to the movie. And I was sitting there. I was like breathing really heavily, and I was glaring into space. And I know it wasn't his fault. He wasn't trying to be annoying, but like, it was making me so mad. Little 11-year-old me sitting there like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna kill him. I felt like punching him in the face because I was going insane. My stomach, I felt sick to my stomach. I felt like killing someone. I was so incredibly angry. And after a while of being tortured, of sitting there, listening to that and smelling that and feeling like death, I got up and I ran to my room. He was very confused. He didn't know why I ran to my room, but I ran to my room and slammed the door. So, I don't know, it's just, I couldn't handle it. It was just bad. Seems really dramatic, but like, I was very angry and it was just horrible. The next thing I want to tell you is the pencil story. Very vague names, I know. The pencil story. This is pretty recent. This was about a year ago. Not even. Last year. So, we were doing tests, because every child does tests at school eventually. So we were doing a big math test, but my class this year is also this way, but my class was horribly noisy. And my class could not sit next to their friends, or else they would be so loud the whole time. And so my teacher did what any teacher does when their class is too loud, and arranged a seating plan. Of course, everyone's like, ugh, but whatever. So the seating plan, I was like, oh gosh, I wonder who I'll get stuck next to. And I was put next to a girl named, we'll call her Cindy. Middle of the classroom, whatever. I don't have a preference for where I'm put in the room. I was put next to a girl named Cindy. I mean, I didn't know much about Cindy. I had nothing against Cindy. She was pretty quiet, which was good for this test, I guess. She didn't really talk much. She was a good student. She got good grades. She was really nice and just quiet, and I was like, oh, this is fine. I like Cindy. Me and Cindy are acquaintances. We have nothing against each other. That's fine. So I was like, well, I'm not next to anyone I'll talk to, but I guess that's good, because this is a big math test. So we were sitting there in the middle of the room, and we started doing our math test. Everyone's actually quiet for once, because they're put next to people that they don't want to talk to. So we're all doing our math test. I start writing. So Cindy was sick. Cindy had a little bit of a cold. She wasn't like incredibly sick that she should have stayed home, but she had a little bit of the snivels. And so I was sitting there, and then about 5 minutes in of doing this big math test, probably the biggest of the term, she starts sniffing. I was like, okay, it's a little bit annoying, but I can't blame her, because I do the exact same thing when I'm sick. So annoying for this math test, but it's not her fault. She can't control that. I do the same thing, and I feel bad that she's sick. Whatever. So I was just like, okay, I'll ignore it. It's a little bit annoying, but whatever. So I'm doing this math test, and so I was writing it with a pen because I hate the sound of pencils. And so I was writing it with a pen, and Cindy clearly didn't have the same problem as me, and she had a normal pencil. So I really don't like the sound of pencils. So mechanical pencils are mostly fine because they don't have, like, wood. And so she was using a normal pencil. And so this pencil was very unsharpened, and the eraser was almost fully gone. So she had been writing answers really dark on her paper, and then she had the pencil on an angle so the wood was like scraping against the paper. Talking about this is making me grit my teeth. She was writing her answers, and the wood was scraping on the paper. And then, since she had put it on her paper so dark, when she went to erase, the eraser had been shaved down to the metal, and so she was trying to erase these super dark answers, pressing really hard, and the metal was scraping against the paper, and it was killing me. I put down my pen, and I sat there and put my fingers on my temples, and I was like, oh my god, I can't do this. She did that over and over again, scraping on the paper, sniffling, and it was driving me insane. She wasn't trying to annoy me on purpose, but I just couldn't do it. I felt like killing her. I got up. It's about half hour in. For 25 minutes, I'd been sitting there just trying to plug my ears and not focus on this girl rubbing her pencil wood on the paper and scraping against it, making that horrible noise that I hate so much. I have this problem with pencil crayons too, and whenever I have a project I have to color, I can't do it. And so, about a half hour listening to this, I feel like a murderer. I feel like I'm going to kill someone. And so, I got up, I went up to my teacher, and I said, Mr. Teacher, you have to move me from Cindy. I have nothing against her personally, but what she's just driving me insane with the noise she's making. Please move me. Really? What's she doing? I was like, well, it's just her pencil. And so he's like, what? It's her pencil? I was like, okay, Mr. Teacher, if you don't move me, I'm going to fucking kill her. Please put me anywhere else, next to someone who's using a pen or something. And so he put me next to another person. I don't remember who it was. And thank God, because I would have killed her, like hurt her, and just because she was making annoying noises, and it was making me grit my teeth and digging my nails into my multiple spots on my hand, and it was killing me. So, anyways, that's the end of the pencil story. That's probably the worst one. It made me feel sick to my stomach. That's how much I hate fucking pencils. Foots on gravel story. That's what my bullet point says. Really good grammar right there. So, you know, if you're like wearing shoes of pretty much any type, and you're walking on like concrete, and there's like different little chunks of gravel on the ground, and you step on the gravel and you kind of turn your foot on the ground. It makes that scratching noise on the concrete. God, I hate that so much, and it happens to everybody pretty much all the time. And so someone in particular had these weird shoes, and they walked in a weird way. And so I also don't remember what this is, because the story is also months ago. And so they were walking. We were at school, and they were walking on this concrete. They were like spinning around and like making this noise. And I was in a group of people, and I was like, oh God, can you please not walk like that? I hate that noise. And they're like, what? I was like, the gravel on the concrete scraping under your shoe. I really hate that noise. And so this person was evil. They're like, oh, this? And they kept doing it over and over again. Scratching on the concrete. Horrible noise. Just over and over again. And then they said to the group, they're like, guys, she hates this noise. And so the whole group of people went and started doing that with their shoes, scraping. And this concrete had lots of chunks of gravel on it. They were making this scratching noise over and over again. I was like, oh my God. And they were trying to make me mad on purpose, and it was working, and it was horrible. And they just did it the whole lunch hour, and it was horrible. I had to leave. I left, I think, by myself, like the lonely kid I am. And so, yeah, those are all the stories. It was pretty short. I just wanted to do one. The first episode of Pet Peeve Corner on my, not really pet peeve, but like irritation, which is sensory overload, and just, yeah, just want to explain my anger on camera, because that's fun. Anyways, see you guys next time on whatever we upload next. And this is the first episode of Pet Peeve Corner. These things are going to try and be pretty short. They're just a little mini-series. We're going to make a playlist, and don't know how long it's going to last, but yeah. Anyways, see you next time on 3 Gay Laddies. Woo.